All right, and here we're going to go in and we're going to create several data sets and several data sources. Just to show you here, I've got SQL Server Management Studio up and running, and work is the name of this box down here. I've got 10.5 is SQL Server. You see this SQL Server 10.5 point whatever is SQL 2008 R2. So I've got instance 2 up here and running. And then I also have SQL 2012, which is 11.2, and then analysis services running up in here, so you can see what we're going to connect into. So over in data source, I'm going to start out. I'm going to say add data source, and down here you give it a descriptive name, and the first thing we're going to connect into is SQL 2012. So I'm going to put that down just so you can see it. You really want to name these things so that they're friendlier for the user and you know what you're going into. All right, and I'm going to get down here to embedded, and you see I'm tying in the SQL, and if I pull this down, I have my selection of drivers, and we'll click build, and down here I'm going to pull down the chevron. It'll refresh here. Let me pause while it's querying. Oh, there we go. It's up. It's good. Okay, and we're going to go into instance 2 as I showed you, and we're going to select the database, and I'm going to go in with Mathino Group 2012. Which is the files that we use throughout these courses down here, and we'll go test connection. Test succeeded. If it fails, you've got to fix it. If it succeeded, does not necessarily mean everything will work. Right. So this sounds fine, and here's my connection string. I'm going to say OK, and now I'll go down to data set. Remember, this one up here is embedded. I go down here to data set. I'm going to add a data set. And again, I'm going to use a data set embedded in the report. Again, an embedded source and an embedded data source are also known as ad hoc or single report or whatever. And they're really kind of a security implementation. So down here, we'll pull this on down, and I'll tie into SQL 2 and text, query type, or I could go stored procedure. We'll go with text, and I'll fire up Query Designer. And Query Designer fired on up, and let's do a query. We really don't care, so we'll open the Human Resources tables, and I'll expand this on out. And down here, I'll just select everything in the employee, and I'll get rid of that, and I'll get rid of the row GUID, and I'll get rid of current flag. This is just to show you down here. And I could group and aggregate, and down here, I'll go to Run Query, and so something actually returned down here like this. Later on when we come in and we're showing you more about queries, we'll go into more detail. So we'll say OK. All right, now I've got it. Now I'm going to say OK. Down here, and here's my data set, right? Data set 1. I'm going to right click it, go into data set properties, and I'll rename it embedded so that we know it's embedded within the report. And let's see, that's into HR. That's fine. Okay, so now we've got that embedded into HR. Let me close this back up. Back up here to data source, right click, I'm going to add another data source. And then again, I'm going to embed down here, and I'm going to select analysis services, click build, and the server name it's looking for down here, it's coming in, and okay, I paused for a second there just so you can see it. See the work / SQL 2012_2 is the analysis services database. Let me go back over and enter that. Okay, I've entered the name of the database, and if I pull this down, there's my OLAP, Online Analysis Processing down here, and I'll test it. Succeeded. I'll say OK, and there's my connection string, and I'll test again. I already did that. And I'll say, okay, now I've got a data source. I'm going to rename this. And this, again, is embedded, and it's into analysis services. So it's, this time I'll name it oops. I won't name it oops. Embedded into SSAS 12. That sounds fine. All right, now I know which one it is. So I'm going to go back here on data set. I'm going to right click. I'm going to add a data set. I'm going to embed. Second time is into analysis services, and I'll click Query Designer. Now notice Query Designer has changed. That's changed because I'm connected into analysis services. I'll expand out measures, inventory, and I'll add this down here to the query. Executing wait. All right, and we got 5, whatever we have down here. By the way, this is MDX. So I'm not going to go into that detail, but there is an excellent course in Microsoft on MDX, written by guess who? Okay, so let's expand out the product. These are dimensions down here. All right, see the little triangle gizmo? That means a hierarchy. I'm going to right-click and add it to the filter. Bang, bang, bang. So here's the products, and here's all my inventory in hand, and you'd be stunned to see if there's 5 of everything. There's a reason for that. We don't care right now. And we'll say, okay, here actually is the MDX query. I'm going to say, okay, and now you've got 2 data sets, and I'll rename this. And this is embedded into SSAS. Just to show you the difference on this. Okay, now let's go back through and we're going to do data source. I'm going to right click, I'm going to add a new data source. And this time I'm going to do a shared. And you see down here if I click in browse, on this box I'm actually tied into an instance of SharePoint, which is why that's up there. But that's not what we want to do. So I'm going to cancel out of that and cancel out of this. Okay, I paused it there for a second so that I could get a website up and running. So now what we want to do is we're going to use a shared data set, and let's come in and take a look at this. I've got the sites up as shared data source. So I've got, here's instance 2, which is actually on work report server. This is SQL 2008 R2. Here is, for instance 2, here is the report manager for instance 2 down here. And what I'm looking at, the reason I'm going through and hammering you on this, is you can look at either the report, the report manager to manage reports, but you want to also look at the web service, which is work report server, and then the name down here like this. And then you would copy that on out so you can connect into it to bring down any reports that you have. Connections in this case. So let's go back over and show you what I mean. No current server, so I'm going to say connect, and it's going to ask me for the URL. Let's go back over. Let's copy this URL, back over and paste it, and say connect. All right, now I'm tied into instance number 2. Now when I go right click, add data source, browse, there you go. I don't have any data sources, but if I had any, they would be listed up in here. And you see it's browsing on into this. Now I'm going to cancel out of that because I don't have any. I'm going to cancel down in here, and let me pause for a second and show you something else. Okay, so let's create that embedded source. And as you saw down there, we can browse on into it. And to browse, we all actually have to have something up here. So let's come through and take a look down here. And now we're on this. I'm on instance 2, which if you remember was my SQL 2008 R2. And I'm going to create a new folder just to hold them. And I'm going to call this connections. All right. And now my connection folders, I'm going to click new data source. And I'll give it a name. And I'm tying into instance 2. And I'm going to put shared. And you want to put more thinking into this and actually give it a description down here. Here's your server, and if you look at that connection string, if you notice there's no build. So here's what you want to do. Let me pause a second. All right, what I did was I popped back over into Report Builder, and I used the same as I used before to do an embedded connection down there in the report. The only thing I really wanted to do was pick up this connection string. I'm going to copy it. Okay, and now I'm back over. I'm going to paste it into the connection string. All right, and watch what happens now. This is semi-important. And we'll come down here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to store we'll go with Windows Integrated Security first off. I'm going to say test, instance failure. All right, now what the problem is here is when you copy over these strings, you see that double slash? You need to get rid of one of those slashes down here like that. Let's try it again. And the connection was created successfully. Cool. Now I'm going to come back over and I'm going to change this down here to create credentials stored securely in the report server so I can embed the credentials. And I'll go in there with the name of my box, which is my domain, which is work. And my name is Ron, and I'll put in my password. And I'll say use as Windows credential when created, and I'll test. And it worked down here, and instance 2 shared is fine. And I'm going to say OK. And now I have instance 2 shared, and let me pause a second. Okay, I'm back over in Report Builder, and I went in the Browse, and here's my Connections folder, and I'll take instance 2 shared, and that's a shared data connection. I'm going to say OK, and now I'm going to rename it so that it has some better name, and it's shared, and it's into 08R2, okay, and Methino group, which is fine. I wrote okay. Okay, we'll give it a test. Okay, it worked. I'm pausing. I'm back in Report Builder, Data Set. I'm going to right-click Data Set. I'm going to say Add Data Set and Shared. Again, I'm going to browse back up into my instance down there, and I don't have any data sets, so I have to go through and create one. Let me cancel out of that and cancel out of that, and switch back over to Report Manager. All right, a little goof there. What I meant is I'm going to start a new instance of reports down here. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to say new, and it's going to ask me if I want to save that, and I'm going to say no. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to create a new data set, and you see instance 2 shared, that connection's the only shared data set that I have, so I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to go create. And now it wants me to tie, and I win as the current user, and that should work. And it does. And now the standard thing you did before, so we're just going to select something, and I'm going to run the report, just so you can see it down here, and it's all good. Okay, and now I want to save this data set, so I'm going to go up here to my save icon, and it's going to ask me for a name, and it's in the connections folder, which I really don't want it, but I can move it at a later time, or I can go up like this, and you see then it has, so I'm back over here into the connection, actually it's not going to go into the connection folder, and I'll give it some kind of a name, shared, and that's fine. And I'll say OK, and now let me just close out of that and refresh this. And now I've got shared over here. If I double click it, she's up and she's open, and I hope I could come in here and put some kind of a view in there. See, I can download it, etc. But let's go through quickly and show you that. Let's go back over to Report Builder. Let it come on up. Okay, I've got another instance of Report Builder running. I'm going to go blank report, data source, right click, add data source down here, and see now I can go right into my instance 2. I would give it some kind of a name. Test my connection. All right, sounds good. And I'll say OK. Now my data set, right click, add data set down here, and I'm going to use the shared data set. I'm going to browse on in. There's my shared data set. Okay, and I've got that data set. And the huge advantage here is that the data connections are stored up on the server so they can be easily administrated, and the data sets, which can be confusing to the average Joe, are also stored up in there. All right. If you're doing the same thing for analysis services, it is the exact same thing, with the difference being, you would select, instead of tying in the SQL Server, you're going to tie into analysis services.